One thing that's been kind of surprising is, I think, in this situation, following along with this situation, is seeing Biden's willingness to kind of back up this progressive group and kind of give them cover while they really fight to pass this really kind of pretty ambitious agenda, like considering what some of the expectations were with Biden, with when Biden became president. Are you surprised by that as well?
I am. I mean, so one of the bigger stories I did during the transition was I got audio of his and video of his Zoom meeting with civil rights leaders.
Yes.
And it was just an absolute catastrophe. Just him like shouting at them.
Yeah, like paternalistic.
Awful.
I remember that.
Why are you telling me to do stuff I've already done so much? My words matter. I ran because of Charlottesville.
Yeah.
And I've said like racism is bad, and like that's why I ran, and like that's it.
I personally helped free Nelson Mandela from prison. I went on a dangerous top secret mission to get him out of there.
But coming out of that,
I get.
Yeah, exactly. But coming out of that, I was like, oh man, this guy, like he doesn't feel like he has to do anything. Like all he has to do is it felt like he felt at that moment that his election, him knocking Trump out of the White House, was his contribution to humanity, and it was going to stop there. Instead, boom, out of the gate, he gets through this $1.9 trillion American rescue plan, and withdraws from Afghanistan, which he had said he was going to do it, but lots of people said that, but didn't do it. And then here he is, trying to implement his campaign promises, and it has the media absolutely livid. Like they basically, the media's posture is, and they've been rather explicit about this. The New York Times was explicit about this. They said Biden made concessions to the Bernie Sanders wing of the party, in order to unify the party after the primary, but he spoke in centrist tones. They use the word tones, and so, but what they mean by that is, well, okay. Yeah, he said he's going to do these things, and he told the Sanders wing that he's going to do these things, but he's still Joe Biden. He's not going to do these things. That was a reasonable belief, but what's funny is that they're endorsing lying in order to win over voters, and then they're outraged when it turns out that he actually meant it. And I think Biden really loved all the adulation he got from passing that $1.9 trillion bill in February, March, and started to see like, oh, wait, like, this is a legacy-making opportunity for me. I've been a middling senator who kind of stumbled into the presidency, but all of a sudden now there's an opportunity for him to make a legacy, and I think he wants to seize it.
Yeah, the narrative around that at times has been frustrating because you still see people try to pit progressives against everyone, or say progressives are going to the extremes, or when. At least on the reconciliation bill, it's really moderates holding this up. So that's been frustrating. On the legacy thing, I also think like groups came in ready this time, acknowledging the mistakes they made when Obama took office. Unilaterally disarming was a colossal mistake. Thinking Obama was going to be a team player was a huge mistake in retrospect for progressive groups. I saw it internally. I saw it in other allies in the space. Like, people were not like, sure, we'll back you in the general. Trump is horrible, but we're like day one, we're ready to go. And I think you're seeing the results of that. Like, groups like Climate Power came like ready and like did not back down. They had a ton of money behind it to push for, and the Green New Deal Network, that popping up. All these groups brought these issues front and center. And that's why we're seeing this huge investment in clean energy and subsidies or rebates and all of these other different proposals in reconciliation that would help retrofit everything and modernize everything to get to ideally net zero emissions by 2035. That's ambitious. And that isn't just Biden. I think that's also groups that didn't want to fuck up again.
Right. Yeah. And I think those groups were helped by the fact that Biden isn't terribly popular. Like, when, if you remember, when Obama was elected, a complete halo on the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Massive approval rating when he came in. And all you have to do is look around now at his approval rating among Democrats still to this day. And so anybody who wanted to criticize him ran up against that, was going to get their funding cut for their organization, and they were either going to get it cut from the rich liberals who loved Obama, or the rich liberals who were getting yelled at by Rahm to cut the funding of these groups, or the small donor folks who loved Obama. Especially as Obama controlled the list and the like organizing capacity that had been built up throughout 2008, and he just let it fall apart. He just dismantled it on purpose. So there wasn't any kind of organized ability to challenge him. Whereas with Biden, nobody's got a halo on him, and so it's much easier to challenge him. And I think the progressives are kind of enjoying this like boxing Gottheimer and Manchin and Sinema into a corner, because it's hard for it. Like the progressive moderate storyline is out there, but because there's so few of them, it's not exactly framed as an ideological contest, which the progressives are always going to lose in the mainstream media. It's framed as a couple holdouts against the rest of the party, or it is now. Like it's headed in that direction. For a while, they were trying to do a different frame.
Yeah, they've also kind of been highlighting the lack on the part of these quote unquote moderates of having any actual demands, and just saying like, no, we don't want to do this, and saying like, okay, well, specifically, like, what do you actually want to do? And like, I feel like these moderates were so like unprepared to have an answer to this question, because they're so used to this being sort of, the media like doing their jobs for them on this, and all of a sudden they're supposed to have to answer these tough questions about like what specifically they want to cut out of this big package. They have zero answers for that, and it's made them look kind of, like they don't really have their shit together on this.